I stopped associating DMX's name to music these last couple of years. He's more of a reality star, legendary guy who already has his spot in our our hip hop top 5 list. Um but so I wasn't really my expectations for DMX as a rapper were very low. I'm not gonna lie. Um with that being said, this album it exceeded expectations for me from a music standpoint. I thought it was really well put together, very similar to how Pop Smoke's album was put together.
The music that I've been accustomed to across, along DMX's career, I should say, this is up there as far as the musicality. Like it's up there. It might be number one actually. DMX, man. DMX, the legend himself, rest in peace to DMX. He and his team put out that, I guess I would say, highly anticipated project, posthumous project that just came out called Exodus. We've seen people like Swiss Beats go on press runs trying to promote the album. I don't know if you've seen that. I've seen interviews with him on the Breakfast Club, different places, kind of breaking down the meaning of the album and just days leading up to his untimely demise and death. But Q, I haven't spoken to you in depth about this project. I know we touched on it very briefly. What were your first? I want to know first and foremost, like, did you have any expectations? Number one, for this project, with this being supposedly his final album, and then secondly, what did you actually think of the album itself when you did hear it?
Great questions, brother, as usual. Very good questions. So DMX was not rapping. Well, let me not say he was not rapping. DMX was not putting out music as consistently as other artists. If I recall, I don't know the last album he put out. If you could even look that up and let me know about that, but it has to be at least 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
So, but they were talking about, DMX was in the lab these last couple of months, and just to be completely honest with you, I didn't think that he was that great a rapper these last couple of years.
By the way, his last project came out 2017. It was called Dog Eats Rabbit, in parentheses, Black Burner versus DMX. I never even heard of his project.
What about that? What was before that?
And then the one right before that was in 2015 called Redemption of the Beast. Never heard of it. Didn't listen to it.
Okay. So
you want me to keep going? I think the one that you actually remember is probably Undisputed in 2012.
I remember Undisputed. But yeah, I mean, DMX, I stopped associating DMX's name to music these last couple of years. He's more of a reality star, legendary guy who already has his spot in our hip hop top 5 list. But so I wasn't really, my expectations for DMX as a rapper were very low. I'm not gonna lie. With that being said, this album it exceeded expectations for me from a music standpoint. I thought it was really well put together, very similar to how Pop Smoke's album was put together. Very well put together. Choppy, a splash of nostalgia, a splash of new school music, features that DMX would work with, some features he wouldn't. Like DMX and Moneybag Yo, what were they thinking? That Moneybag Yo and DMX on the same song. That does not make any sense mathematically, logistically. Yeah, but anyway,
I'm with you on that. By the way, I do want to interject. Supposedly, and not even supposedly, because I saw the interview with Swiss Beats. He said that Pop Smoke was supposed to be on that song.
Oh, that makes more sense. That didn't make sense. I mean, DMX and Bono, the great Bono. I mean, it was just a mixture of a little bit of his old school stuff too. Like I thought the best song on the album was "That's My Dog," the very first song with the locks, and that's because it gave me authentic DMX, Rough Riders, Swiss Beats, the locks, fills. But then like for every "That's My Dog," there was like uh Skyscrapers with Bono, which I think is a good song, but I'm like, that doesn't sound like a stereotypical DMX song. But what I will say that's glaring about the album is um if you just take away the way DMX raps, because I really yes, I try to say this in a nice way. I don't think he is a good rapper on this album. He does not put up good rap performances on this album. Like his flows are choppy. He doesn't necessarily um fill out the songs. Like whoever put the songs together, I don't think they matched his intensity to the song that he was on. And then like it kind of just sounds erratic. But what I love about it is he shows a lot of emotion on the verses. He gets to talk about some demons that he was battling. He gets to talk about his health, his mental health. He talks about his son. He talks about being better people. So I thought that was dope. All in all, it was a great experience. The album was a great experience. I know people are going to trash it because it's not the old DMX. We were never going to get that. But I do think it felt like a good closing chapter to a career that is very underrated and a career that I thought was very impactful.
Yeah. So as far as grading, I mean, what would you actually give this album as far as grade wise?
I would give it a C. I would give it a
Okay.
C. I don't think it's bad. I mean, I think I reiterate, I think his rapping performances were bad. And I think that's mainly because they put him on songs that it just did not fit. Like it just did not make sense for him to be on. But I think the way it was structured, put together, I think was pretty decent. Respectable. Very respectable.
Okay. No, I feel where you're coming from with a C. I think that's a respectful grade, and all the stuff you said, I think I'm on par with that. Like, I'm gonna start with my grade. I would actually give this about a C plus. Reason why I give this a C plus is because, and hopefully that this doesn't sound blasphemous. As far as the music that I've been accustomed to, along DMX's career, I should say, this is up there as far as the musicality. Like it's up there. It might be number one actually. Like if we really getting into just the songs themselves and how they sounded mixed and how grand the songs sounded. Like for example, you talked about Skyscrapers with Bono. While I'm with you on that. Like I feel you. That's kind of out of the DMX realm. Like we're not used to hearing him over those types of songs that sound like they should be played at festivals, like white people festivals. Bro, like I still like the song though. Like I thought it was still a good song. Like but I hear some of your points though. One thing I want to say is that I'm actually glad I watched the interview with Swiss Beats. It put a lot of things in perspective for me. For example, when you talk about the verses kind of just sounding choppy, one thing that Swiss Beats said was that DMX was actually in the booth creating all of these songs in real time. They didn't do what they did with Pop Smoke's album, where after he died, they just crafted together a bunch of shit and verse here over that beat and da. Apparently, DMX was part of the entire process. So that makes me happy. That doesn't actually mean that every song was great, but still, I'm glad he actually played a part in selecting verses over which beats and all of that other stuff. That's important to me. I'm sure that was important to him as well. Some of the songs that really stood out to me, I think you talked about one of them. That's My Dog. Oh man, nostalgic. I actually thought Sheik Luch put up a great verse. Great verse. I really like that Sheik verse. As well as all of them, but the Sheik one to me, I really like the most. That's really the only one that had nostalgic vibes, right? If you really get into it, like even bath salts with Jay-Z and Jay-Z and Nas. I just
Jay-Z and
no.
Nas, when they link up, I mean,
No, man.
I put them
No.
as top 5 songs, but like
No.
they do mid songs together.
Listen, no.
They do mid songs.
That song is not it.
Yeah.
Period.